Welcome back to the Essentially You podcast. I am your host, Dr. Marisa Snyder, and I'm here to help you feel great in your body and rock your hormones with so much ease and grace so that you can reclaim more energy, vitality, and joy and become the CEO of your health. Let's jump on in. For the first time on the show, I'm excited to co-host the Essentially You podcast with my husband, Alex Dunks. Now, since we are almost approaching episode 350 here on the show, I felt it was finally time to get Alex on the show to make his podcast debut. Now, there is no one who knows our 14-day detox like him, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to have him chime in on what you need to know before you decide to do a detox. Plus, we know that you have questions, and I felt Alex would be awesome at helping me answer them so that you can decide if this is right for you or if any detox is right for you. So Alex, honey, I am so excited to have you on the show. And the reason why is one, love you. And you have been co-creating this show with me since the very beginning in 2018. I have a feeling everyone knows that is listening right now. But if you didn't, Alex has been here the entire time, making sure that this podcast goes live every single week, no matter what's going down. And I'm so grateful to you, not only for helping to make this magic happen, but also helping to be such an incredible partner on this beautiful health journey that we've been on for a decade now, right?
Yeah, it has. Thank you, honey. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. Yay. So happy that you're here. Okay. So as you and I both know, we have been gearing up for the last couple of months for our spring 14-day detox. And we're kicking it off with a big group in March. And with prep week, we always get people prepped. As you and I both know, you and I learned a long time ago, kind of some hard lessons around detoxing, and that a prep week is so critical. Do you remember the first time we ever did a detox together when we didn't even have the food in the fridge the day of to actually make it happen?
Oh yeah, that was a little intense that first day.
I think we almost ate each other and ate our own hands at the same time. So we know that prep week is super critical. And that's a big part of how we really want to set anyone who does a detox with us with as much success as possible. And so let's talk a little bit about why we created this program, because you were very much involved in the creation of it as well. You know, since we've been together, which is over a decade now, we have been doing all kinds of detoxes. We've done juice detoxes. We have done smoothie detoxes. We've done a 28-day detox many times that was fully plant-based. And talk to me a little bit about, you know, your experience with these and kind of what was the impetus for you feeling, along with me, that we needed something that was more sustainable.
Yeah, well, I remember the first time that we detoxed, I took it very seriously, which yes. I'm not sure if that was to my benefit. It probably stressed me out more. But, you know, and being a very challenging detox, I think that first week was definitely hard. I think it was like 7 days in, though, that I was really losing it. And I don't remember what I was asking you, but I was like, something's not right. Like we need to change something. I don't know what it was, but I remember just feeling really challenged. And I had never done something quite that strict before. But I think that, you know, in terms of getting to where we got with this detox, at least for me, the need was something that felt a little more sustainable and not like super jarring. You know, like even when we've done a juice detox or something like that for a couple days, you know, even if it's like a 3 or 4 day detox, those first couple days are pretty intense and pretty hard. And I feel like the way that we enter this detox feels really easy. It's so similar to how we eat all the time that as soon as we're off of it, I don't really want to change much at all. Like I might want to add, like maybe I'm ready for red meat again, or maybe I want to like sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on something. But for the most part, I really enjoy how I feel. And so this just feels really close to what we're able to do all the time. And that's what makes it really easy for me, at least. And it's delicious too.
I love that. Well, I think you were really the litmus test around when we were curating something that we wanted to be very doable, but also for people to get really great results. I took a lot of your feedback in into mind when I was creating this. And I will speak to, we did this 28-day plant-based program, and we did it many times. And I think what the struggle was for me, whether it was a juice detox or it was that plant-based detox or it was a smoothie or whatever it was, a couple things happened to me. One, I wasn't able to work out because my body was just way too exhausted trying to work that out. And I just didn't have the energy. And I was super bummed because I usually was in a great workout routine. I do a detox and have to pause everything. Also being irritable, that doesn't, you want a good partnership, your detox buddy to be cheering you on, not to be cussing you out. And so that's a big thing, not to be irritable in a program. And then the other thing is that you start to feel better faster. That was another thing. I know sometimes we would do these, we'd hit day 15, day 16, and we were still like, are we ever going to crawl out of this hard part of it? We need to get to the other side. And I will say that every time we kept on something, I always felt like on the other side, I knew what the results felt like on the other side. The food freedom, the lightness, the clarity, the more energy. But I was like, why do we have to sacrifice so much to get those results when there's got to be a better, more sustainable way? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, in terms of sacrificing, the first thing that comes to mind for me is not wanting to sacrifice flavor. I really don't enjoy bland food. And so it's really challenging for me to like pare things down so simply that I don't even enjoy my food. Whereas I really love the taste of healthy food. So it's definitely possible to make and eat really, really healthy food that falls in line with the detox. So just expanding that a little bit to like kind of have the I'm sure we'll kind of cover this later in terms of what the meal plan is like, but I really like the creative freedom to like mess around in the kitchen. I really enjoy cooking and I do a lot of the cooking in the house. And so for me, the joy of cooking is like, let me sprinkle a little of this in, try some of this. And, I'm always trying to make an existing recipe or, or something that exists, a dish that I love, but trying to make it healthy. And so working with the food eliminations, as long as I know what I can't put in it and knowing kind of everything else is on the table, even if it's just a spice or a seasoning or a little just like fresh herb garnish or whatever it is, there's all kinds of ways to really make things fun and delicious while still being extremely healthy and extremely anti-inflammatory, etc.
I totally agree. Well, and it really speaks into the why behind why we created this was, how do you create something that's sustainable? And I know people ask me all the time, well, how long should I be on this? Like, how long should I be doing this type of program? And I'm like, honestly, eating this way is literally probably one of the best things that you could do. Now I get that that won't necessarily feel sustainable to everybody, but gosh, if you do it enough, you're going to find yourself kind of finding your sweet spot with some of the foods that are eliminated here that just really aren't serving you. And so, as you had mentioned, you and we pretty much eat this way all the time. Clearly, things start to during the holidays, there's a little bit more leniency and things like that. But for the most part, we eat this way because this protocol is really designed to feed the gut and protect the liver. And when we're eating that way all the time and we're thinking about food in that way all the time, well, then it's a total win-win. And you can really prevent a lot of chronic conditions down the way. And I just want to speak into kind of the why behind the program. Not only did we always feel great at the end of these bigger programs, but I saw lots of improvement with my patients. And then at the time that I was really, really inspired, I think we're just over a lot of the programs that we saw out there. We wanted something better. We wanted something that felt more sustainable. And then also, I know you remember back in the summer of 2018, that year that we started the podcast, actually, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, an autoimmune condition, and I had high levels of estrogen dominance. And so we have pictures of me. I'm bloated, I'm puffy, especially in my face. It felt red kind of all over my face. I was 20 pounds heavier. I was burned out and my digestion was super off. My cycle was not ideal. And at that time, we were really considering, starting a family towards the end of 2018. And when I got that diagnosis, we put everything on hold. And I remember thinking, this is a really great time to finally finish this program and create it. And so I remember getting it all on paper, got the videos, the recipes, the yes and no foods list done, the meal plan. And then I decided to be the ultimate guinea pig. Although I had versions of this protocol for years, I had never done it for an extended period of time. And so I ended up doing it. And you joined me for a big chunk of it for 90 days. And I was able to actually reverse. Then this is just my particular study, my case study. I was able to reverse a lot of that inflammation. I lost the 20 pounds in those 90 days. My thyroid antibodies were pretty much in normal range again. And, I know I can speak to the fact that this program, the Detox, which I'm super stoked that we're launching in just about 3 weeks from now on March 1st, that it completely changed my life in a very short time. When you think about it, I mean, 90 days in the whole scheme of things, is a very small amount of time versus a lifetime of an autoimmune condition. And I'm not to say that autoimmune condition isn't still there. You never get rid of it, but it's in remission. And it had everything to do with what I put into my body. And so I just wanted to just share that story really quickly, because that was such a massive turning point for me, where I was like, oh my gosh, I've seen food heal the body, but healing my own body with food, that was an utter game change.
Absolutely. It's so interesting to think back to that time. It, seems like so long ago, but yeah, I remember when we were creating the program, and honestly, I'm so proud of you, babe, for creating it. It's so cool to see it come to fruition. And, just like seeing this idea of, you literally saying like, let me take a little of this and let me take a little of this. And then let me, mix in my own experience. Let me mix in the need to be able to work out to minimize the detox symptoms. And you nailed all of it. And so, it's so cool to see 4 years later, we've had, I was gonna say hundreds, I think it's thousands of people have been through the detox now, and the results we get. I mean, it's so cool to see it for ourselves, but seeing all of people's results and accomplishments and goals that they're hitting in the Facebook group is so cool, because I know that it's making a really amazing difference in other people's lives as it's made for ours.
Talk to us about what have your experiences been, because you and I have done it for longer periods of time than just 14 days. And I just want to speak into that, because everyone's like 14 days, right? 14 days. And I'm like, yes, and we'll talk about why 14 days in just a minute. But guess what? It's the kind of program, it's the kind of way of eating that you can 100% do really for the rest of your life, basically. And some people do eat like this for the rest of their lives, based on whatever they've got going on with their bodies. But we have done it always, the shortest amount of time has always been 14 days, but done it in longer periods of time. Talk to me about the benefits for you specifically, because I know everyone thinks that this is just a program for women, and it's absolutely not. It's a program that's specifically, I just want to speak to what exactly the 5 important things that the 14-day detox was designed to do. Number 1, feed the gut, because we're feeding the gut and hormones, awesome, yummy foods, right? That's the number 1 goal here. Protect and heal the liver, reduce inflammation in the body, prioritize your health and self-care, because it's built into the program, and then reset your blood sugar, your metabolism, and your insulin and leptin. And so I don't know, I think everybody who has got a body would benefit from all of those benefits. So talk to me about some of your favorite benefits.
I have lots of reasons for doing a detox, but there's a couple main reasons that I see and things I benefit from. I think number 1 for me is a reset, and that's why I think the 14 days is so important. Even if you want to extend it, is being really strict for those 14 days, because that's where you give your gut, your liver, your metabolism, all of these systems of the body a chance to clean things up and just focus on things that are really clean, so they're not dealing with all the inflammatory foods as well. And then so just getting that reset, and kind of, I think for me too, it's like a pattern breaker. Like my habits will like slowly shift, and like they don't get too bad, but all of a sudden I realize that I need to like snap back to normal kind of, and get that reset. And then in doing that, the other thing that I think I really get from it, and why I really like it, is it really helps reestablish routine for me. Because when I start to slip, I do a little bit of cheese here, I do a little bit of grains over here or something. Those things will just slip back in just a little bit more frequently. And, I think in moderation, they're fine. But all of a sudden, I'm like way back over here. And so establishing that routine is really important. But for me, I think I do really well with routine once I get one thing going really well. Like once my nutrition is really on point, one, I'm feeling better and I have more energy, I'm sleeping better. But then my workouts are going to be more consistent. Not only am I going to have more energy for them, but I'm just motivated to kind of keep the good feeling going and to like check off more things in my day. With the workouts in particular, that's what makes it feel so sustainable. When we did that 90 days, I was probably doing 90 to 95% of what you were doing for that whole time period. And I was working out the whole time. I was probably in some of the best shape that I've been during that time, and just eating really clean and having tons of energy as well. Another benefit, I don't think this is always my first benefit, but it happens every time, is weight loss. I know that if I always slip a little over the holidays. I think I didn't do too bad this holiday season compared to maybe some other ones, but we made some sugar-free treats and some gluten-free treats and things like that. There's always like a couple extra pounds that are going to come by, or like every few months, if I'm just not quite on my routine, a few extra pounds are going to come back. And I know pretty much with regularity that I can lose, I want to say 5 to 10, but let's be honest, it's always 10. Every time I do it, as long as I stick with the program for 14 days, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. And so I can literally undo, 3 months of damage in 2 weeks. Not that that's a good reason to do that damage in the first place. You've
lost close to like 18 pounds before too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When I really had, weight to lose, and I definitely was in, let's say, not my prime habit creation mode. I'm pretty sure I lost basically, because we did it it was over 3 weeks. I lost 20 pounds a year and a half ago. That's always nice. I'm not ever going to argue with those results.
I just want to, as we're talking about kind of some of the benefits you've experienced, you and I both know I never built the program. It's not a weight loss program, right? Like I talked about the 5 benefits just a second ago, but when you reduce inflammation and you get your metabolism back online and you work on managing those blood sugar roller coaster ride, and you get it stable, guess what? A side benefit of it is weight loss. And I would say what we know based on the thousands of people that did that, I think the average weight loss is 8 pounds. Usually most people are losing anywhere between 4 and 12 pounds when they do it for 14 days. It just really depends on where they land. I personally is usually 5. That's kind of where I land, and if I do it longer and I'm really inflamed, which thank goodness that's not the case right now. Very, very grateful that I've lost way more before as well. So I just wanted to speak into that. This is not a weight loss protocol. It's a reduce inflammation, heal your body. And guess what? Your body's going to just let it do what it do, and so it's going to release that weight, which is an awesome side benefit. And I know for some people that's super important. And for others, they're just like, I just want to be healthy. It meets both of those needs. Anything you want to add about the protocol before we get into the questions that you and I both know people want to have answers to? Because we've been doing this for so long. We have fielded thousands upon thousands of questions, and we kind of know the questions that people are like, but what about, and then, so anything else before that?
Yeah. Well, I just want to piggyback off of how healthy you are right now and how good you look. You had a baby a year ago, and within, was it 4 months, you had lost all of your baby weight and more, I believe. And
5 months.
Still pretty good. and that's basically,
but I wasn't trying either.
No, I mean, you were eating very kind of, I'd say, eating a diet inspired by this program, basically as little sugar, as little grains, and a few other things as possible, pretty much no dairy at all. And it just came right off when you remove those inflammatory foods. I, on the other hand, have not quite lost all of my baby weight yet, but it's really close.
So close.
Coming off.
It's coming off in March.
It's coming off. This is the month.
This is the month.
It's going down.
Alex, you were so wonderful and sympathizing with me on my pregnancy weight gain journey. I really appreciate that.
Well, I didn't want to make you feel like you were losing. If I were to just drop a bunch of weight really quick, I didn't want to make you feel bad. So yeah. I just kind of held on to it for the moment, but I'm ready to let it go now.
Love it. Thank you. Thanks, honey. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the questions that we get all the time, the questions that you may have. And again, whether it's this detox or any detox, this is what I know to be true. I just want to say this right now. You've heard me talk about this a lot, is that we live in a time where our gut and our liver need as much support as they can get. So I believe, given all the stress that we're dealing with, the toxins that we're bombarded with, because whether you are vacuuming and dusting every single day, whether you have made over everything in your house, you still got to go out into the world and you're still consuming foods. If you are doing any level of takeout, even a great organic restaurant, you're still getting chemicals, preservatives, additives, right? It's just the way it is. It's just
they're coming in a to-go plastic container.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, how often
phthalates.
are these containers BPA free? They're not, right? We know that they're not. They're plastic, it's gross. They're single-use plastic. And so it's all of this, right? We're inundated every single day. That's why we've got to be able to reset the system. I think you said it so well and so eloquently earlier, is that, like, you not only pattern interrupt is great, but also your gut and your liver really, really need this. And if you could do this more consistently, then great. But at the very least, 1 to 2 times a year, oh my gosh, it's a game change. Every time people do this, they're like, oh my God, I wish I would have done this earlier. And it's always fun to do it together. So something to consider if you are thinking about, like, man, I am feeling kind of sluggish. I'm feeling kind of off. My brain's not firing 100%. My energy is a little bit low. My digestive system is a little bit off. I've been bloating, gassy. Like, I just know that I need something. I've been getting migraines a lot. It's something to consider. And it's so much better to do it together. Like, I don't know if you and I have ever done it on our own by ourselves. We've always done it together. You've always been down. You've always been ride or die when it comes to doing the detox. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, and just in terms of people wanting to, saying, I wish I had done this earlier. I think one of the reasons, I mean, obviously you feel good and you're getting results from it. But I think the other piece to that is because of how easy it is. I think people don't really realize how easy it is, that really it's really just cleaning up some stuff in your diet and being strict about it for 2 weeks. I mean, at the most simple level. And it's just so much easier than, compared to those initial detoxes that we've done. I mean, even this 14 days is way easier than 2 days of a juice cleanse, in my opinion.
Real talk.
So, and you get better results too.
Well, and also the other thing I think is it's so gentle and safe, because it's food. I mean, mind you, I did curate a super sexy 14-day liver detox kit that we've done the program with the kit and without the kit. And I think you and I were really blown away by how results happen faster. And I know you and I don't have detox symptoms anymore, outside of the fact you're like, okay, we're gearing up for this. But, we've had so many thousands of people do it with a kit, without a kit, and with the kit is definitely the favored preference. And the detox kit just makes it so much easier. It just really kind of puts it all together. I have it right in front of me right here. And so it's a great add-on, and it does definitely boost results. But otherwise it's just food. Like, there's nothing scary about it. There's nothing weird about it. There's nothing it's not going to harm you, no matter what you've got going on, no matter whether you've got any level, whatever kind of inflammation you're dealing with right now. The goal is to feed the gut, protect the liver. You can never go wrong with that. And so that's why I'm convinced this is just how we should eat. And so I know when people are like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm like, I'm telling you, like, this will change your life. Okay, so let's get into the questions, the things that we hear every single day. Let's do it. So first question I always get is how long? And 14 days. And why 14 days? It's literally the shortest amount of time needed to get tangible results. That's what's up. And I have learned, I know a lot of people say that it takes 21 days to create a habit, but I would argue that you can create a habit in 14 days, because we've had so many people get to day 14 on the program and then just continue on to 21, 30, 45, 90 days because they felt so great and it was doing so much positive things for them. They're just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep riding this train of feeling this great. And so 14 days is that kind of that defining moment where you start to experience a lot of the benefits, the more energy, more focus and concentration, more clarity, you feel lighter, less anxiousness, you feel more stable mood, more stable blood sugar, just all along more improved digestion, weight has come off, and you're like, okay, I got this. Like, I'm just going to keep continuing it. I have found that anything shorter than 14 days, just, you don't get to that sweet spot and you may not see the kind of results you really are looking for. And so that's why. And then, because I never want to sideswipe you or Mac truck you with a program, especially one where you're changing what you're eating, we have 5 days of prep, and we really prep you up so that you can start to wean off of some of the foods that may give you some detox symptoms. Anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, in terms of the prep week, I think that is really what helps reduce those symptoms, because it's not like this sudden drop off cold turkey. So let's say, coffee is probably the hardest one, probably for both of us.
For everybody.
So yeah, let's be real.
Then sugar.
Definitely sugar. That's always one that creeps back in. It's really nice to get the reset from sugar. But yeah, just like not having that steep drop off really helps. And then in terms of the overall length, I always feel like once I'm past 7 days, I think 7 to 10 days, I really feel like I'm on a roll. And that's when I feel like I'm going to keep going. And that's when I'm definitely seeing results. I mean, it's been a little different for me every time, but like when I've had less numbers on the scale perspective, if I have less weight to lose, I may drop 2-3 pounds in the first week. And then it's like after 7 to 10, then I get like this second wind, kind of like I'll plateau for a minute. And then that's when I really will see some more results. Definitely if I have more weight to lose or a little more inflammation to reverse, then I'm probably going to see some more initial results. But yeah, I feel like the habit is really kind of established in that 7 to 10 day window.
Mm-hmm. Question for you is, will you starve? Will people starve on the 14-day detox?
Yes. Just kidding. No, not at all. And just when you're talking about like how you created the program and came up with it, and just kind of talking about how simple it is. I mean, that's what I love about your approach in general, and how, it's like, it almost sounds too good to be true. You're like, well, how do I give people real food, delicious food, let them eat as much as they want, reverse inflammation, drop weight, rebalance their hormones, all this other stuff that happens. You've done it, and it is simple. And I think that's what's so beautiful about it, and just your approach in general, is that there is a really effective simplicity to eating real food and really healthy food. The idea that you can eat whatever you want really is eat as much as you want of. It is almost, you can eat anything you want. You just can't eat a couple things, more or less.
You can eat everything that you're allowed to eat.
Exactly. But it's not like, it doesn't, once you do the program, you look at the recipes. Like for me personally, I love to go outside the recipes. I mean, clearly I helped develop some of them, and the stuff that we eat all the time. Marissa's famous guacamole is in there. The salmon recipe that we cook pretty much every week is in there.
We're cooking tonight. Yes.
I can't wait.
We're literally, oh my God, I'm so excited.
Me too. I think
we might
have to do an early dinner tonight.
Yes.
I'm getting excited.
I'm hungry, actually. I'm already hungry. Okay. Yeah, go on. Sorry. I got distracted by that salmon.
Yeah, me too. I understand. I forget where I was going with that, honestly, but just the idea of like being able to eat stuff that's really delicious is, it just makes it so easy. And so for me, like, I realize all that's possible, as long as I'm not like adding bread or adding cheese. For example, you can pretty much do what you want. And of course, we provide recipes to, clearly there's a few more eliminations. But yeah, it really feels so expansive to me, because you can eat salmon, you can eat spaghetti squash, you can eat sweet potatoes, you can eat fajitas, you can eat chicken taco salads, like all these things that are so delicious. And it's really, that's how we get away with eating like that all the time, because we just to make sure there's not a couple key inflammatory items in the recipes. That's pretty much it.
And in today's world, there's so many phenomenal substitutes that it's never been easier to swap out. swap out some of these inflammatory foods and move in some other really great ones. Like when we make taco salads, clearly there aren't tortilla chips in it, right? And so there's just modifications that you're making. So we have a big old yes list. So, and you get a meal plan too. If you love meal planning, yay. If you don't even worry about it. We don't meal plan at all. We know what is on the yes list. And we have all these, that's what a lot of our recipes came from that, but we just work from there. And that's what a lot of our detoxers do. They share recipes in the group, in the Facebook group. They share pictures of their food. It's really cool. And we have a full yes and no list that you get. And the yes list is pretty darn big. So just a heads up, you get all kinds of yummies. But I just want to talk about what is on the no list. I want to be real clear about what is eliminated and the why behind elimination. So the reason why I eliminate everything is because we're feeding the gut and protecting the liver. I want to be that really clear. And these are the foods that oftentimes, because we've never removed them, we don't know if they are subtly and sneakily creating inflammation inside of the gut and in the body. And so by doing a full elimination of these items, of these foods, and slowly reintroducing them back in day 15 and on, you get to just know and learn really quickly what lights you up and what doesn't. So here are the foods that are removed. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what foods I recommend you weaning that prep week, even 3 days prior, 4 days prior. It makes a huge difference when you start day 1 on March 1st with us, if you decide to do it. So I know Alex already mentioned dairy and bread gone. So dairy, gluten, grains, and corn. So all grains, corn, gluten gone. And the reason why all grains are gone, even quinoa, is because we know that if your gut's super unhappy and inflamed, which unfortunately a lot of us are that way, even those little seeds from the quinoa can cause all kinds of problems. And so it's just best to just remove them all entirely. Soy is removed. Unless it's organic tofu. And again, there are always, modifications that can be made, but we do usually allow for organic tofu, especially if someone is vegan or vegetarian. Peanuts are gone because they're super inflammatory. Sugar, including sugar substitutes. So it's all gone. And I'm talking about honey, maple syrup, everything that is sugar. Again, if we want to reset blood sugar levels and insulin, which are major players in metabolic flexibility in your metabolic function, then we've got to just remove all of it. Alcohol, coffee, eggs, same thing. Eggs is, I don't know if you know, but eggs is the third biggest food allergen out there. And a lot of people have no idea that they have a reaction to eggs. And so eggs are pulled. Processed meats, clearly all in any processed foods, hydrogenated oils, refined oils, those are what we pull from the protocol. And the cool thing about it, what makes it so easy, is that all the recipes, all the foods listed, the meal plan, the full thing is done for you. And there are none of those foods that we pull in any of those recipes or anything that we give you that makes it super, super easy to just follow what we give you and follow the yes list and go from there. Anything you'd love to add about that?
Dairy, gluten, grains, corn, soy, peanuts, sugar. That might sound like a lot of stuff to some people until you look at the recipes and you're like, oh, I would order that off a menu at a restaurant. That sounds delicious. Partly because there are so many good substitutions that you just may not realize if you're used to eating some of those stuff. But like peanuts, for example, you can, like, if you love peanut butter, almond butter is a great substitute. We love almond butter. And, to me, that's like a treat. We're trying to be wary of how much, fat and almond butter we're eating, but that's like this amazing
or
dessert
cashew
or
butter.
this amazing snack. Yeah, I love cashew butter too.
Cashew butter. Those work. Instead of milk, delicious. Almond milk or oat milk. Although oats are a part of the grain, so oats. Pretend like I didn't say that. So almond milk works, cashew milk works. Making sure that it's organic. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of incredible substitutes that make it so easy. And although I do cut caffeine or cut coffee out, the one thing that I do allow for is matcha because there's so many great side benefits. Now you can decide if you do this program, you're like, I'm full cold turkey caffeine, but there are green teas allowed, matcha teas allowed. And so if you're like, I will slit someone's throat if they try to take caffeine from me. We do have the matcha and the green tea that kind of eases that. So just a heads up that is available as well. So I just wanted to just share, because I just think there's so many benefits, there's so many antioxidants and polyphenols in green tea and matcha that the benefit outweighs my concern around the tiny bit of caffeine that gets extended over long periods of time. It's just not the same. So just I love my matcha when I'm on the detox, because I need, mama needs something. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. And
Agreed.
the thing I'll say too is regarding like caffeine's a great example. When I do matcha, I'll think I need it every day. I'll need 2 matchas or something like that. But that changes pretty quickly. And there'll be a day where I notice that I don't have anything and any caffeine, and it wasn't even necessarily intentional. And then I'll bring coffee back, say after the 2 weeks, usually. And usually one of the first things to come back, I just love the taste of coffee.
Oh my God. So good.
Marisa would go to bed. You would go to bed. Maybe it was when you were pregnant, or I forget when, but you were literally going to bed excited about your coffee in the morning. Like you're like, it's 8:30, but if the sooner I go to bed, the sooner I get to coffee in the morning. And
that's me totally, every day.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
But one thing I'll notice when I go back on coffee, I'm not having that second cup every day. And once you step back, it doesn't quite have the same appeal, or definitely not the same need. Or you might notice that you don't do as well. Like dairy is one of the ones for me that will slip back in. I mean, I eat almost no cheese, but I like some hard cheeses, some Parmesan. But then once that packet runs out, I'm going to get another one all of a sudden. And so I'll start to get into that pattern. And then I go off of dairy, and then I add some back, and I realize how much better I felt when I was off of it. And that happens with a lot of things, but that's just one for me. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about it is you just, you get to listen to your body and tune in and figure out what makes you feel good and what doesn't. And this really gives a lot of insight into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, knowing your body, listening to your body, especially when you remove these things, you're actually really able to listen. And as I mentioned before, probably one of the biggest results that people kind of report is the food freedom, is they don't feel addicted to the sugar, addicted to the caffeine, addicted to the salty foods, that the potato chips or whatever. That really spoke volumes to me. Like, I just felt like I am free. I'm free from any food chains, because I have reset the whole system. My brain isn't requiring it. The dopamine receptors aren't requiring it. And man, it just feels like you get this new opportunity to fall in love with food, but that's super, super healthy. That's one of my favorite things about it, is the food freedom that you get and the energy. Like, I'm always wanting more and more and more energy. And so I just love when you give your body the right foods, like your mitochondria, your cells really show up and perform for you. And that's like the greatest feeling ever.
Yeah. One of my new favorite swaps, actually, we don't eat a lot of corn almost ever in general. Usually we'll do like a cassava tortilla or something like that. But then occasionally out, I'll have a little corn. And I love corn chips, but I don't really eat them anymore. But one of my favorite things, we made guacamole last week because we're prepping for the detox. We're at 90% of detox friendly with our diet at the moment. Like, we made spaghetti squash with vegan pesto that we made. And actually we found a store that makes a vegan pesto that's totally detox compliant as well. And then we'll put salmon over that. So stuff that just sounds amazing. My favorite with guacamole that literally just discovered last week was how much I like cucumbers with guacamole. And I've just totally fallen in love with cucumbers again, which maybe sounds a little funny. I mean, my favorite way to snack on them is squeeze a little lemon juice and just sprinkle a teeny bit of salt on them. And then I was doing that, dipping them in guacamole. And I was like, this is way better than a chip. And I feel like I really appreciate real whole foods versus the next time I eat a chip. Like, we were at a Mexican restaurant over the holidays, and of course they set that basket of chips. Usually Maurice's like, get that out of here. Like, let's not even tempt us. But we were with family, and so we had the chips out on the table. And of course I have a handful before the meal, and all of a sudden I just didn't feel well already. And that's totally the opposite of how I feel if I'm eating, cucumbers with guacamole. And so it just really gives me a new appreciation for the foods that are really good for you, because they just make you feel good. And they're honestly tastier than most of the stuff. I feel like we're addicted to these salty foods and junk foods and things like that. But man, you go back to eating that after even just the 2 weeks, and you're going to be like, wait, what am I doing? Why would I go and feel like that when I can feel really good? And it just doesn't taste as good as real food either.
You got to make the Kingston face. You got to be like, the I don't like it face. Okay, so a couple of these I want to knock out real quick. What kind of support will you get? You are going to get a community of people who are literally doing it with you. You also have our team that answers questions in the Facebook group. You get daily emails from me and videos cheering you on. And I'll be doing Facebook Lives cheering you on as well. I always recommend a detox buddy, though. It's so much fun to do it with someone that you know. You can really get to it like with, you can really kind of, not that you would be complaining necessarily, but we all have, anytime you're doing something that requires a little bit of effort, you're working it out. It's nice to have someone that you know really well doing it with you. So I always recommend having a detox buddy to do it, whether it's a sibling or a best friend or a partner, or even maybe it's a kid who's in there. I think this is even great for teenagers, but usually someone in their 20s because they'd be willing to do it. So just note that you get a lot of support, and that's what makes the live groups so incredible. And that's why we're committed to the live groups as well. It's a lot of work on our side to put it together, but it's worthwhile because we just see the results are so much better when we do it together. And I think we already addressed this question I think we get this one a lot is, am I going to feel crappy? And that's one of the reasons why we brought in the prep week, was to kind of reduce some of the crappiness. But not going to lie, you pull some of these foods out like sugar, coffee, salty processed foods, dairy, your body's going to, your gut microbiome is going to majorly shift. Your body's going to start just pulling toxins, reducing inflammation. And yeah, there's going to be some symptoms. What I will say is the more and more you do this, the less and less symptoms you get. But some of the symptoms that we see the most frequent, definitely a little bit of tiredness, especially those first couple of days. And here's the thing, it's never day one, because your body has no idea what's going down on day one. It doesn't know you're changing what you're eating. Day one is a mind game. I would say that a lot of people struggle with day one because it's their mind messing with them, but your body has no idea what's even going down on day one. So it's usually not until day 2, day 3, do people start to experience some detox symptoms. And that may be tiredness, a little bit of brain fog, maybe a sluggish digestion. But the number one reason why we actually created the 14-day detox kit, which is just phenomenal at supercharging results, is because we wanted to speed up that healing process on the gut and the liver and the cells. And so we've seen a lot of big side benefits from people reducing those detox symptoms out the gate as well, because the gut and the liver are more primed and ready to kind of just move through all of that in the beginning. And so that's probably why I want to say 75-80% of our participants get the gold package with the detox kit. Alex, I know you would know those numbers.
Yeah, it's around 70%.
Awesome. Okay. The question that everyone asks as well, and I think we answered this is 14 days enough time? And I think you and I, based on what we've seen over the years, it definitely is. But I always recommend, if you're feeling great and you've got the time, just keep on going. Alex, honey, do you find that 14 days is a good place for you, or do you like to go a little bit longer?
I definitely like to go a little longer. I think, for me, it's all about routine and habit setting, and like remembering what it feels like to feel really good. And so and I'll be honest, I like watching the pounds come off on the scale, and I feel like once I have some momentum, I'm like, maybe I get another 3, maybe I get another 5 or something like that. And that, it's just something that honestly feels so easy compared to, like, as in when it's so easy when you have the momentum versus like any random day where I'm like, okay, I really, really need to drop those 5 pounds and just kind of clean things up. Starting is the hardest part, but once you're going, it just makes sense to keep going, because why wouldn't you want to feel better if you are feeling better?
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say too, the 14 days is, we've squeezed in a detox. Like, we know we've got like a wedding we're going to in 2 weeks, and we're not going to be fully detox compliant in that wedding. So there's been times we've like fitted in exactly 2 weeks, and then, maybe we go to the wedding and we come back and we're like pretty much back on it after that. But we've seen awesome results in just those 2 weeks too. So I definitely think it's enough time. It also feels good to do more too.
Mm, I love that. Yeah, no, agreed 100%. And then the last question I think we get a lot, or the second to last question is, what if I have a specific issue? And I addressed this a little bit early on because we are like, what if I have an autoimmune condition? What if I have, irregular menstrual cycle?
I think this is 75% of our questions that we get probably.
What if I have a specific issue? And as I mentioned earlier, it is always a win. It is always a benefit. I mean, if again, 75% of your immune system is in your digestive system, and it's such a big and integral part of how the body's healing and functioning. And also, we know that the liver is got so much going on, and so you never can ever go wrong with feeding the gut the right foods, protecting your liver, reducing inflammation, stabilizing your blood sugar levels, and helping to support your hormones. Like, you just can't go wrong with that. And that's what's so great. So I want to just kind of nip this really quickly. I know we can get stuck on, well, I've got this particular condition, I've got this particular issue, I've got these multiple issues. But when we think about an integrative approach, I think we all, like, if we literally kind of gut check, we know that nutrition is foundational. We know that's something we got to lock in. It's so often we're just like, well, how do I even do that? I don't even know where to start. I know for me, that was always like, okay, well, what does this even look like? 12 years ago, when I was really struggling with severe chronic fatigue and all kinds of major issues, I wanted to know, like, what was the key tenet to really healing the body? And what it comes down to is it's 100% food. And at the very least, food is going to get you closer and closer to feeling and healing your body. At least you've given yourself that foundation to keep adding on the important critical supplementation, the lifestyle habits, whatever other protocols that practitioners are giving you. But this is the crux of what matters. And that's why I thought this program was so important, was that we literally do it. It's all done for you. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to really, have to create it. You don't have to, do all your research. Research is done. The meal plan is done. The recipes are done. The yes and no foods list is done. All of it's done. And it's all laid out so beautifully so that you can just execute on it. Just do it. Right. And I'll tell you what, we've seen labs change. We've seen massive symptoms shift in such a short amount of time. What is mind blowing to me is how miraculous the body is, just wanting so badly to get back on track, wanting so badly to heal. It's just a matter of giving it what it needs to do so. And that's what I think you and I have seen in thousands upon thousands of people. Like, the proof is in the pudding because we've seen it. We've got testimonials everywhere where people are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was going to address my severe sleep issues, my severe energy issues, my brain that doesn't work anymore, my digestion that's been a problem for over a decade. All of that we start to see resolve in literally 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea, what the quote was, but the idea is basically that eating clean is good for every condition. There's not a condition that I know of. I'm not the doctor here, but as far as I know, eating clean like this is going to be good for you no matter what. And so if you're out there and thinking that might be an issue, or you're wondering if this is, something very specific that may not, just kind of think about the idea that, like, what could it give you potentially, instead of like what may not work. What are some of these side benefits that Marisa just mentioned that you may not be hearing about? I mean, maybe Marisa already knew. I don't know if you already knew, all the other things that were going to happen, but I feel like there's definitely, even for us, surprises on like what stuff happens, the lab results, all these other issues. People's skin clears up, they sleep better. There's all these other things that happen that they don't even realize is going to happen. And so just going into it, being open to possibility, that it may not solve every health issue of yours in 14 days, but you might be surprised at some of the stuff that it actually does solve, or at least moves you along with. And then, like I was talking about with momentum earlier, is, once you have the kind of the wind at your back like that, it's going to be a lot easier to continue making positive changes and continue moving in that direction, especially if you do have something that is going to require a little longer path.
Yeah. Like my Hashimoto's thyroiditis, like my autoimmune condition. Autoimmune conditions are nothing to mess with. They're very serious. I remember I was devastated when I got that diagnosis, and I I definitely didn't want it. That's for sure. I don't think anyone does. And I was like, okay, this is serious. This requires like serious action. And the fact that I could have such profound results in 90 days. It wasn't 14. I'm not going to pretend like it was. It definitely wasn't. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, you be consistent, you start to see more and more positive changes happen, and your body will just be so grateful, so thankful for it. The other question we get is, what is the best package for me? Because we do have multiple packages to make it super, super easy, because we have people who do this all around the world. We have in Europe, in Canada, in Australia, New Zealand. We've got people in Mexico, in Portugal, in Brazil. So we get people all over the world are doing this program. So we have a couple different packages. And although our spring group is filling up fast, there is still time to join with us and to get your detox kit, all your materials, basically everything you need without feeling rushed. I know that feeling. I never want to feel rushed when I'm about to do something and embark on something that feels pretty important for me. And so basically, when you go to drmarisa.com/detox, which will have the link in the show notes, you have three options. So the bronze is where our 100% digital option. You get access to the membership site, videos, the support group, all of that, but it's all digital and you can print everything. And especially for our international people listening, that is phenomenal. So that's mostly what our international, anyone who's doing it internationally with us is usually getting the bronze, because it's all digital and it's the least expensive. It's $87. And we have a monthly payment plan as well, which gets it down to $24.50. Silver gets you all of that plus hard copies. So you get the detox manual, you get the yes and no foods list, and you get my newest book, the menopause solution, as well. So we send you all the printed materials, which is awesome. That's silver. And then the gold package is definitely the best deal and the most popular, because it comes with the supplements. So it comes with the 14-day detox kit. It comes with all of the hard copies, and it comes with the digital as well. So it comes with what's included in what's included in bronze and silver. It's all in the gold kit plus the supplements. And like I mentioned, we have payment plans for all of them, because I want to make it as affordable and doable as possible, no matter what you end up choosing. Like I said, you can go to drmarisa.com/detox, check out all the options, pick one that works best for you. Make sure you get a buddy to do it with you, because that's always awesome. And then you are set to go. Then you start get added to the group. We start sending you everything you need, and you are ready to rock and roll with us on March 1st. Anything else I should mention around that? I just wanted to make sure they knew the package options, so that it was super clear which one to choose that works best for them.
No, I think you covered it. I mean, the only thing I'd add maybe is that most people prefer the printed manuals, but if you don't need those, you can go for bronze. But the reason 70% of people ended up going with the gold package is because it's the best way to get the most bang for your buck and to get the best results. If you're going to take this 2 weeks to really dedicate to eating this clean diet, you might as well be taking the supplements as well. The meal packets make some of your meals really easy. I know people are always asking, like, how much time am I going to have to spend in the kitchen? Like you can only eat detox friendly at a restaurant. It might be a little more challenging sometimes, but for the most part, like a salad with chicken or salmon with a vinaigrette is going to be, fall within the guidelines most of the time, but you're going to want to be cooking at home. And so anything you can do to make that easier, whether it's meal prepping, having the meal packets for your smoothies in the morning and at lunch, that's going to make it really easy. And then, personally, I always know that my liver is ready for a break. Probably my second hardest thing to give up after coffee would be wine. I love some Italian wine with my healthy meals. Most of the time I am eating detox friendly, but I'll have a glass of wine or two with dinner. And so, I know that also isn't good for me as much as I like it. So I'm always looking forward to giving my liver a detox, because I know that, most of us, whether you drink alcohol or not, the liver definitely needs a little bit of love. And this is the best way to do it, because you're already doing it with the food, and then this is just going to supercharge your results.
So well said. And as we mentioned, if you are down, if you are like, I need more energy like yesterday, I need more improved digestion like yesterday, We'd love to have you. We want to welcome you to our incredible group. Again, it's just drmarisa.com/detox, and you'll have all the options there. It'll be in the show notes for this episode, which I believe is 343. So close to 350. So excited. And then before we end this interview, I want to quick fire you real quick. I have quick fire questions, and I know I haven't been as consistent, but I want to be more consistent with my people, with my experts.
Before you do that, could I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Just, I know that you mentioned doing it with a detox buddy. I know a question we get a lot too is if let's say someone is doing it, let's say a woman, a mom is doing it. She's going to ask, like, can the rest of my family, do I have to cook 2 meals every day for everyone? And so a couple things on that. One, this is great for, we speak a lot towards women are primarily who Marisa serves, but it's amazing for guys. It's part of why I'm here to talk about what amazing results. However, don't be mad if your husband comes on and he starts losing weight a little bit faster. That tends to happen with men. I think Marisa's come to terms with that now, but she used to get a little cranky about it. She's like, you don't even do half of what I do. And then you just hop on this program and you just drop 10 pounds in the first week. But it's a really great thing to do. And, basically getting kind of everyone on board is a really great thing. But if you have kids and they're picky or your husband is not on board at all, what I would recommend as far as the food goes is you can make a detox friendly meal. It's really delicious. It's something the whole family wants. And then if they want to add a little cheese on top, or if they want to have a slice of bread on the side with it, they can always do that. So it's really easy to kind of just make one big meal, and then you can separate your detox friendly portion, and they can add a few little things on the side as well. So I know that comes up a lot. So I just want to mention that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, for you or your partner, this is really for anybody in your life that you think could benefit. But yes, for those that are cooks in the house, you're not having to make 2 meals. We have so many families, moms that are doing it, partners, couples that are doing it. They've got kids, and they just kind of, like I said, they kind of portion out their thing, or make one more, like maybe they're making spaghetti squash instead of pasta, but it's totally doable with a family. I'm so glad that you got to mention that, because that is a question we do get a lot as well. Okay. Quick fire. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You may have seen these questions already. Lucky you. What is the one thing you are deeply grateful right now?
Mine is, we just moved into a new home a couple months ago. Definitely still feels like we're settling in, but I think the place that I'm just loving about the new house and location is our proximity to the beach. So we've been taking walks to the beach most mornings and most afternoons, actually. And it's my favorite part of the day. And so I'm just so grateful to be able to live where we live, and just to be able to go walk outside with good weather and be active and just get to watch the sunset, or just go peek at the ocean every day.
Love it. Yes. So true. So nice. I love our little walks every day. What was something you've done that made you feel extremely happy in the last week?
Besides beach walks?
They can be beach walks.
No, I'd say we just took, this week and a couple other weeks in the last month, we just bought passes to Disneyland, because we live not too far from Disneyland, and we've gotten to take Kingston, our 1-year-old, to Disneyland, and he absolutely loves it, and it's just been super fun. So we went last Sunday and took him again, and went on the teacups and the carousel, and it's just such a new fun thing we get to do as parents. And at his age right now, I was wondering how a 1-year-old was going to do, but he's doing very, very amazing in Disneyland. It's definitely his in his zone of genius, I feel like.
Yes, he is loving it. I love how he handles the teacups. It's pretty impressive. Okay, what is one thing about you that surprises people?
Probably, this is a fairly newer thing, but that I'm an amateur house DJ.
Yes, you are.
My newest fun creative hobby.
Can you tell people what your name is? What your DJ name is?
Sure. It's DJ Magic Daddy.
I love it.
Which originated from me putting the baby to bed. We had some friends over, and I poked my head out the door, closing the door, tiptoeing out. And Marisa's like, did you do it, Magic Daddy? And I was like, that's got a nice ring to it. Maybe might hang on to that.
Okay, next is what book or film has recently had a big impact on you and why?
I was gonna say Harry Potter actually, because we just watched all the Harry Potter movies for the first time, but
Yes.
I'll
Well,
go
well,
with a
your
little
first time when we
my
had
first
COVID.
time. Yes. Yes, but I'm gonna say actually something. There's two books that I've been listening to. One is How to Do the Work by Nicola Perla, which Marisa, I know you've read, and the other is No Drama Discipline, which is a parenting book. And what thing about both of them is No Drama Disciplines teaching you about kids and early childhood development and the best way to speak to them and what's going on with their emotions. But I feel like it's teaching me all these things about being an adult and my own emotions. With How to Do the Work, just a really, really insightful book, really practical. And it was talking about like inner child and early childhood development as well, more in terms of like what's happened to us. That was also giving me parenting tips and perspective for Kingston as well. So, just feel like I'm on personal development journey that's been really, really productive. Definitely as a new parent, I'm motivated to really have over all that. So
Love it.
yeah.
I love these books. They're so great. I'm so glad you're reading them too. And then last but not least, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
I start DJing earlier, maybe.
That sounds
I
great.
actually have two answers. I'd say one would be to meditate earlier. I feel like that's been one of the most amazing practices in my health, that I'm still working on establishing a good routine. So, I wish I had started that a little bit earlier. I think I would have definitely, I would be seeing the benefits from that. And then I think the other thing is just, I was going to say sugar. I don't know if it's don't eat sugar, but more just how hidden sugar is. I just think about all the stuff I ate when I was 18, and I just had no idea that like sugar isn't everything, whether it's like eating out somewhere or it's in a jar or something. And now it's like, it's the number one thing I look for in a label is hidden sugar. And it's crazy how much sugar is in everything. So I feel like that would be pretty insightful to have known a number of years ago when I was 18.
Oh my goodness. You and I both know. Everyone knows how I feel about sugar on this show, including especially you as my husband. Alex, honey, thank you so much, not only for the quick fire questions, but also your insight into the program that you and I have worked so hard to create and really, really get out into the world. So I want to say thank you for coming on.
No problem. How'd I do? I dropped a phthalates. Was that
you did
reference?
Awesome.
And then I nodded and pretended like I know what leptin was when you mentioned that.
I love
it. You've told me before, but you
did great. I love it. I want to say thank you so much, everyone, for listening today on the Essentially You podcast. The show is all about providing you tools to rock your hormones and feel amazing in your body. If there is someone in your life that needs to hear this today, needs to hear our fun conversation around what you need to know before you try a detox, take a moment, screenshot the episode, send it on over to them, or share it on social. We love Instagram. Holler, head on over there. And when you do post about the episode, hashtag hormone literacy or hormone CEO. Until the next episode, I hope you have an amazing day. See you soon.